and there's no mandate for everybody to have insurance, why would insurance company not have a pre-existing, insure somebody?
Well, I like the mandate.
Trump has proven already that he's completely malleable.
But the single payer, no more. You're not interested in that?
No. I'm very capable of changing to anything I want to change to.
I don't think he has any fixed opinions that he would really go to the White House and fight for.
What's your plan for Obamacare?
Obamacare is going to be repealed and replaced. Everybody's got to be covered.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not. Everybody's going to be taken care of, much better than they're taken care of now.
The uninsured person
right.
is going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of.
How?
Probably.
Make a deal. Who pays for it?
The government's going to pay for it.
Why would insurance company not have a pre-existing, insure somebody?
Well, I like the mandate.
Universal health care.
I am going to take care of everybody. I don't care if it costs me votes or not.
Donald Trump is not a nice person, okay? Donald Trump is a very nice person, and I am a very nice person. And I'm a very good Christian.
Listen, I backed Mitt Romney. I backed him. You can see how loyal he is. He was begging for my endorsement. I could have said, Mitt, drop to your knees. He would have dropped to his knees.
And I'm a very good Christian. And you can tell them to go themselves. And I'm a very good Christian.
I would bomb the shit out of him.
She said he's a pussy.
It's political bullshit.
I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers.
One of these blood-sucking politicians who's been bullshitting people for years.
And I'm a very good Christian.
You're not going to raise that fucking price.
And then as soon as we left, they knocked the shit out of everybody.
This ain't shit.
Probably I'll sue her, because it would be fun. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pocket.
Those factories are cheap as hell, and they don't give a shit.
Whoever the hell bought this mic system, don't pay the son of a bitch to put it in, I'll tell you.
In the old days, he used to shoot the son of a bitch.
She got schlonged. When somebody does a bad job, like this stupid mic, you shouldn't pay the bastard.
In the meantime, we can't get a fucking school built in Brooklyn.
And I'm a very good Christian.
Wouldn't you rather have Trump as president? Oh, we'll beat the shit out of them.
If this guy over here is spewing all sorts of crap.
So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously.
Listen, you motherfuckers, we're going to tax you 25%.
I want to tell you a love story. It's the story of all of us. It's a love story of freedom. It's the story of our founding fathers who fought and bled for freedom and then crafted the most miraculous document, our Constitution. The framers understood that our rights come not from monarchs, but from God. And that those rights are secure only when government power is restrained.
I left Cuba in late 1957, came to the University of Texas on a student visa, and when Castro took over in 1959, I went back to Cuba that summer, and I was shocked. That same man that had been talking about hope and change began confiscating private property, began attacking freedom of the press, shutting down newspapers, television stations, radio stations, began attacking freedom of religion.
My tia Sonia fought against Castro in Cuba. She fought in the counter-revolution, and she was thrown in prison.
I was involved since 17 years old fighting against Castro. I had my rifle, and I was ready to do whatever was necessary to survive.
So I left Cuba totally disillusioned, never to return again, but so grateful to God to be in the greatest country on the face of the earth.
I recall when I escaped Cuba to come to the United States, I put my feet in the ground. I felt that it was the most wonderful thing I could experience, being free.
I remember when we were young, Ted and I would literally sit at the feet of my grandparents and my mother and my uncle, and we would hear the adventures of their life growing up. They had all these wonderful freedoms to only one day have someone come to the country and change the destiny of our family and the legacy of our family. And Ted and I would listen to these stories and And I remember we'd go to the back room after we'd play, and I would say, well, I'm gonna be strong just like them. And Ted would say, I'm gonna be a freedom fighter. After so many years, to realize that he's picked up the torch of my family's legacy and carried it on here to fight for the freedoms that we have here in the United States. It's incredible.
God's blessing has been on America from the very beginning of this nation. And I believe God isn't done with America yet.
At the beginning of 1975, I was really a drunk. That really caused a lot of problems in our marriage. I was actually separated from my wife.
At the time that Rafael was drinking, I was drinking too. We were not in a good place at that time. So it was a blessing when he became a Christian and stopped the drinking.
It's the greatest decision of my life. It totally turned my life around.
I hit bottom emotionally and was able to accept the Lord myself, and that changed my life radically. That stopped my drinking. It was a complete change in my personality and my life, and I'm eternally grateful for that.
Ted actually gave his heart to Christ when he was 8 years old. That has become a foundation in his life.
I'll tell you, my mother is an incredible prayer warrior. This has been a remarkable journey, but one of the things that gives me real strength is not a day goes by that my mom is not lifting me up in prayer.
That's right.
The Bible says that our steps are ordered of the Lord. It was so wonderful that as Ted was entering high school, the Free Enterprise Institute decided to create a group of 5 kids, called them the Constitutional Corroborators. And they had each of these 5 kids memorize the entire U.S. Constitution. During the next 4 years, they did approximately 80 speeches on free market economics and the Constitution. So before Ted left high school, he was passionate about the Constitution. He was passionate about free markets, about the rule of law. That's why he said, I have to go to one of the Ivies. Now you gotta realize we're broke. We just lost our business. And he says, I gotta go to one of the Ivies. And I remember his mother and I, we said, you know, we don't have any money, but we'll make it happen.
When Ted started Princeton, he had to provide for loans and scholarships for himself because we did not have any resources to provide for him. So he took 2 jobs in order to help pay for his daily expenses there. We could give him love and kisses, but that's about it.
I'm thankful to God for that experience because that experience taught Ted about the importance of hard work and about the fact that no matter how hard the struggle, with hard work and perseverance, we can overcome.
There is no one in my generation who has done more to champion constitutional conservative causes than Ted Cruz. I don't know of any place that's harder to stand up and fight and win than the United States Supreme Court. Whether it's defending Second Amendment rights, or protecting United States sovereignty against the United Nations, or fighting for religious freedom and people of faith.
Ted not only clerked at the United States Supreme Court, but even at his young age, he's argued more cases at the Supreme Court than any attorney in the state of Texas.
Time and time again, Ted Cruz stood up in the Supreme Court of the United States. He led, he fought, and he won.
Ted took cases that he really believed in. He obviously believed in the veterans, and the idea of disgracing a Veterans Memorial and tearing it down because it had a cross on it was inconceivable, not only to Ted, but to most veterans and most Americans. And they actually ordered it covered in a bag while it was on appeal, with a chain around the bottom with a padlock. And you looked at the picture and you thought, what country is this in? Ted knew if you tear this memorial down, veterans memorials all over the country are going to have to come down, including in Arlington Memorial Cemetery, because there's lots of crosses and stars of David and religious symbols connected to our veterans memorials. Thanks to that case and to our victory at the Supreme Court, those memorials are still up. And I can tell you every veterans organization and every veteran I've ever talked to is very grateful for what Ted did. When the Ten Commandments case came to Texas, in case after case, in district after district, everyone lost those cases until Ted Cruz took the Texas Ten Commandments case and won. The Supreme Court issued a decision saying that the Texas Ten Commandments did not need to be torn down, that they would remain to stand. That precedent is now used all over the country. Anybody who cares about gun rights knows about the Heller case. Ted Cruz was one of the handful of people who got an award from the NRA for contributing in a way that made a real difference in that case. To have someone who is well-spoken and also believes to their core in our principles and the principles upon which this country was founded in the Constitution, there's a rare combination. He's not only committed to these principles, but he's actually very good at expressing them, defending them, and advocating for them. And that's why people who are on the opposite side can't help but tip a hat to him and say that he's very dangerous, because he actually might be able to preserve these principles and even restore some that have been lost.
I think he is the most talented and fearless Republican politician I've seen in the last 30 years. And this guy has no fear. He just keeps plowing ahead, and he is going to be something to watch. And a lot of Republicans feel this way. If we only got someone who was articulate and was for what we were for, we'd win elections.
So you taught Ted Cruz at Harvard. One of the sharpest students I had. He's deeply principled. He was not a compromiser. He was not somebody who tried to make friends by accepting what was then the political correctness of the day.
This country needs more truth and trust. Ted Cruz says what he's going to do, and he does it.
I think one of the tests of whether somebody's a leader is to look at their life and see if they've ever stood alone, or with a small group, or against the odds. That takes a rare character, somebody with a lot of courage who's shown that through their life.
Our nation, the laws of the land, are more conservative than they were before because of Ted Cruz.
My first impression of Ted was that I thought he looked like a 1950s movie star. He was confident, he was funny.
Heidi stole my heart almost immediately. She's beautiful and she's brilliant, but she's my best friend.
We both have a very, very deep and real admiration for each other. Faith plays an incredibly important role in my life with Ted and our two girls. I come from a missionary family. My grandfather was in Africa for 34 years and helped build a village and was a surgeon there. My father continued that tradition. As a father to the girls, Ted is really their friend and their buddy. They are so excited when Daddy comes home. Ted loves to play games. He loves to get down on the floor and put a puzzle together. He's able to put work behind him to just really have a good time with them. He loves to read to them. He's very animated. And our littlest one always wants someone to fall asleep on the floor next to their bed, and I often find Ted with his head propped up against the dresser, fast asleep.
Ted is a compassionate person. He truly believes in helping people get a step up in the world, giving them every opportunity in order for them to achieve the American dream.
America has been a beacon for the world. It's been a beacon of hope. It's been a beacon of freedom. And to be the child of immigrants with nothing makes you understand every single day how extraordinary what we have here in America is, and makes you committed to fight for our freedom. I remember when we were kids, my dad used to say to Beavy all the time, when he faced oppression in Cuba, they had a place to flee to. If we lose our freedom here,
we don't have anywhere to go.
It's the story of each and every one of you. We are all the sons and daughters of those who risked everything for freedom. And each of us has a duty to pass that same liberty on to the next generation.
Donald Trump is fun to watch. He bashes the establishment, and they totally deserve it. He's the biggest man in the race. He's the roughest, toughest bastard out there, and he tells it just like it is. Except he doesn't, because as entertaining as Donald Trump is a liar. Who does he lie to? First, evangelicals. Trump says he loves the evangelicals, that the Bible is his favorite book. It's even better than Art of the Deal. Forget the fact Trump couldn't even name his favorite Bible verse. focus in on the fact that Trump said he never asks for God's forgiveness. Here are just some of the things Trump isn't repenting for. Bragging about his, quote, experiences with women, often seemingly very happily married and important women. Cheating on his first wife, Ivana, after considering asking her for an open marriage. Supporting partial birth abortion until about 5 minutes ago, refusing to label abortion murder, and stating that Planned Parenthood does terrific work. Writing, quote, oftentimes when I was sleeping with one of the top women in the world, I would say to myself, thinking about me as a boy from Queens, can you believe what I am getting? Saying, quote, you know, it doesn't really matter what they write as long as you've got a young and a beautiful piece of ass. Stating, quote, if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Telling a friend, according to New York Magazine, quote, you have to treat women like opposing a constitutional amendment to end same-sex marriage, saying he won't take moral sides between Israel and the Palestinians. And, of course, Trump-branded casinos actually contain strip clubs, all of which begs the question, have evangelicals ever supported an unrepentant, pro-Planned Parenthood, adulterous strip club owner before? Next, conservatives. Trump hasn't been consistently conservative on a single policy position in his entire career. He may be talking conservative policy now, but what reason do you have to trust him? Trump says now he's the most hardcore candidate on immigration, but in 2012, he criticized Mitt Romney for being too harsh on illegal immigration. Mitt Romney. Trump also hired illegals at his golf courses and to build his famous Trump Tower. Trump says now he'd ban Muslim immigration to the United States, but he originally said he would take in Syrian refugees. Trump is super pro-Second Amendment now, but back in 2000, he supported the assault weapons ban. Trump says he isn't for Obamacare, but then he repeatedly and consistently praises the socialist British and Canadian and Scottish healthcare systems. Trump supported Obama's stimulus package and TARP and the auto bailouts. He backs campaign finance reform. He says the government should cap executive pay. Trump boasts that he often bribed public officials, but he wants you to believe he'll be the one to stop cronyism. Trump says he'll appoint great justices, but he named his pro-partial birth abortion sister as a possible nominee. Trump only stopped giving money to Democrats in 2011, 3 years into the Obama administration, just about the time he was starting to talk about running for president. Between 1989 and 2010, Trump gave more money to Democrats than Republicans. He gave money to John Kerry and Teddy Kennedy and Harry Reid and, yes, Hillary Clinton. And just 2 weeks ago, Trump said, quote, I'm very capable of changing to anything I want to change to. Is this someone conservatives should trust?
I'm very capable of changing to anything I want to change to.
Finally, Trump's lying to the we want a winner folks. Trump says he wins, and he wins, and he wins. He's a great businessman, a magnificent success. Here is a quick list of Trump's business failures. Trump the game, Trump vodka, Trump Airlines, Trump Mortgage, Trump Ice, Trump Magazine, Trump Steaks, GoTrump.com, and of course the New Jersey Generals. He's about to be deposed for his involvement in the alleged scam Trump University, where plaintiffs say they were defrauded out of as much as $60 grand on the promise of teaching how to get rich in real estate. Then there's Trump's Taj Mahal, which declared bankruptcy in Atlantic City in 1991 after racking up $3 billion in debt. Trump had to give up half his stake. Trump's Plaza Hotel declared bankruptcy in 1992 after racking up $550 million of debt. He was essentially ousted from management. Trump Hotels and Casinos Resorts declared bankruptcy in 2004 after racking up $1.8 billion in debt. Trump gave up about half of his share in that company. Trump Entertainment Resorts declared bankruptcy in 2009 when it missed a $53 million interest payment. Trump had to resign as chairman. Unfortunately, America can't declare bankruptcy and just fire Trump if he fails as president. But what about Trump's successes? Didn't he make his own way? Well, turns out that Trump's daddy was a New York real estate tycoon who loaned the Donald $1 million to get him started, about $6 million of today's dollars. That wasn't the only loan Trump got from Daddy either. Trump later ran his daddy's company. When he started running it in 1974, his share of the company is reported to have been worth about $40 million. In 1982, Forbes estimated Trump was worth $200 million. Today, they say he's worth somewhere between $3 and $4 billion. Proof of his keen business skills. Except, it's actually less than he would have made if he just liquidated all of that, put all the money in the stock market, and hung out at the casino strip clubs instead. Of course, Trump, who absolutely never, ever exaggerates about anything, particularly his successes, he says he's worth $9 billion. But we don't really know because Trump, like President Obama and Hillary Clinton, doesn't like to release his documents. But Donald still hasn't presented his actual tax returns. So, is Trump a big winner, or is he a spoiled brat who grew up in the lap of luxury, had his daddy sign his checks, and then bragged about how he is a huge winner? Trump's three biggest crowds are evangelicals, conservatives, and he's a winner voters. Trump is lying to all of them. Stop buying the lies.
Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Donald Trump's pastor wrote The Power of Positive Thinking. The whole positive thinking message, it's taken from the aisles of Human Potential, the New Age movement. Joel Osteen is a product of it. The roots of the power of positive thinking come from Hinduism and Buddhism. Sure, Joel Osteen has said quite a number of good things. Blind cows can catch squirrels every once in a great while. And you want this guy for president, okay? In my opinion, name Rubio, Cruz, Carson, Rand Paul, anyone else. Trump is a progressive liberal. That's who he gives money to. And I've heard the argument, but he's a businessman and he can win the general election. President Dole, President John McCain, and President Romney would disagree. Oh, wait, they're not presidents. And they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They won independence. You should check the numbers that Romney won independence in the states that he needed to win. Oh, he lost the states, but he won independence. 7 million voters did not show up for Romney because they didn't buy his BS. In Massachusetts, he implemented gun restrictions, gay marriage, pro-gay marriage judges, all kinds of abortion crap. 7 million voters did not buy Romney's BS. I will not buy Trump's BS. Why am I so intense? You said on caucus night that I am intense. Calm down. You damn right I am intense, and there is a reason. America's liberties are falling, and our voting system is our version of civil war. Civil war. So when I come across an evangelical like you who fights the sex trade, I am baffled, absolutely puzzled that you can endorse this. Endorse what? Luke 7:15. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing. Inwardly they are ravenous wolves. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Therefore, by their fruits you will know them. It would really help if you'd study Milton Friedman economics. He was an economist in the 70s and 80s, a Jewish man who was a libertarian. He is the best economist you will ever study. And if you studied him alone, no doctrine, no issues, you would reject Donald Trump's proposals for government, where he thinks the federal government should be able to shut down free speech on the internet. Oh yeah, he said that. He says that it would be restrictions on terrorists only. But when you give the federal government power to not only define what is terrorism, and then the power to restrict free speech, how long do you think it will be until they define Christianity as terrorism? Because we reject federal authority in homeschooling, maybe? Question mark? Because we reject federal authority in our churches, maybe? Because we do not force our pastors to marry gay couples? Beware who you give power to. If they do not view power in the federal government as a dangerous thing, they are a dangerous person. So here's a question. If you're offended by some damn fucking dirty pussy language, then maybe Trump should offend you as well.